So, Sphere. Dude, this is wild, guys. You remember I was texting you guys and I was like, hey, I read every single TikTok comment on every single video the first 72 hours when Wizard of Oz came out. There were people all around the world that were like, I am going to Vegas to see this show. This is the most incredible thing ever. This is what we've been waiting for. And I was like, wait a second. Sphere has not had a hit show. Like that Postcards from Earth was a piece of junk.
Well, it's a well-done nature film, the same way when you go to the Omni, you're just gonna watch whatever documentary, but it's not filling seats. But my concern, you started sending me these videos from that where people were taking from their seats, like, "Oh, wow, the tornado and all this." My concern was when they panned over, there's 1,000 empty seats and empty seats. I didn't realize they were only selling that, like, center section, and so in the early videos, I was like, "Well, yeah, it seems cooler than we thought," but the videos themselves are showing, like, a whole bunch of emptiness.
Dave, they're like selling out every show, and almost every single review are people that are like, this is the greatest. So what was really unusual about this is that the previews, like the people that didn't even see it yet, were basically saying that this is going to be the worst thing ever because, they basically cut up the Wizard of Oz.
They ruined a classic film, they replaced everything with digital. No, it's amazing. Like, all of the behind the scenes stuff I've seen on what it's actually incredible that they took something that was shot in the
Who
30s
who is
and turned it
watching
into.
the regular Wizard of Oz in 2025? It's not like anybody was gonna see this movie if not for this production that they did at the Sphere, okay? So, like, I was a little bit hesitant because I was like, "Oh, wait, people hate this idea? It's controversial?" The second the reviews started coming in, I was like, "Hold on. This could be the biggest thing that has ever happened to the Sphere in ways that I don't think anybody is even thinking about yet," okay? I went all in on this trade. I bought a massive amount of call options.
And did you do that just after we talked about it? Because I know you bought some stock right before we talked about it, what this box shows, the 40% gain.
I went all in on that Monday, I believe, right after the Sphere had, come out that Friday. I think I bought a bunch on Friday, and then I bought a bunch more on Monday. This is, like, now one of my top trades of the year, and the reason why it's the perfect trade is it's just exactly how social art works. Regular people seeing something extraordinary that has potential to have a monstrously big impact on a publicly traded company, and Sphere is basically just one thing. Now, we know they have MSG Network as well as part of that company that they're trying to, like, spin out and, like, get rid of, but for the most part, everyone investing in this company is essentially investing in the ability of this one location in Vegas to generate profit, because the better that this location does, the more likely the company is to be able to franchise both big and small versions of this venue all around the world, okay? So, this is the biggest thing that you could ever have happen because it's not a concert. If you do a concert there, number 1, it's really expensive, right? Number 2, you're very limited on how often you can show that concert because you actually have humans that have to get on stage.
Concerts have a scaling problem that you just can't duplicate it. Now you can reuse the graphics that you did in Vegas and do it in London and do it in Abu Dhabi. You can do that and have a world tour.
Right, but the artists are gonna perform, maybe 3, 4 times a week tops, something like that.
But a movie you can just hit replay.
But hold on, understand this. Yes, the concert has, like, more than triple the number of people there because they fill every seat, even on the sides, but people are basically paying the same amount of money to see a live concert as they are a 75-minute film. People are paying $250 to $350 per ticket to see a 75-minute film that can be replicated at an infinite number of spheres if they actually had them. And you could do this at 2 in the afternoon, and again at 6, and again at 10. I mean, you can't do 3, 4 concerts a day. It's actually unbelievable. And the fact that they did this with an old piece of content that was more or less worthless, okay? Like, they took content that probably cost them very little in terms of royalty. I don't know the exact numbers on the royalty agreement. I'm trying to get to the bottom of that now. There are different estimates of it that various analysts have. They basically take a nothing piece of content, add some AI, add some special effects, apples dropping from the ceiling, wind and little piece of paper flying around during the tornado scene. They use AI to make it fill the entire screen, right, and have it be really sharp. And all of a sudden, they're generating what, 5,000 tickets at hundreds of dollars a ticket multiple times a day. This is extraordinary. They're going to be running the show for months and months and months and months. What's even bigger, I know the stock has almost doubled here. How much is the stock up since like 30? It's almost doubled, right?
Well, it was up 40% since we talked about it.
Yeah, it's basically doubled. Here's the greatest part that nobody is really talking about yet. Yes, this will help them for the franchisee model that they've been hoping for and wishing for, that everybody like didn't know if it was going to actually happen. Are people going to actually spend a ton of their own money to build these spheres all around the world if the business model is not proven? But now that they have a proven business model, they can go out and replicate this every year with a new film. I'm just going to give an example.
Yeah, they need to start thinking about what other nostalgic films.
I will give you the best one right now. The best one, and I've spoken to some other people about this, and everybody, this seems to be the consensus of what everyone's saying in comments on TikTok. Everybody wants to see Charlie and the Chocolate Factory done like this. Okay, like that is like seems to be the number one film, the original.
Yeah, things that you can do that are real visual and sensory, right? And you can do cool things with, especially like some of the rooms that they go in with the bubbles and smells and things.
Jordan, this is so big. So I think the model that has been either discussed by the company or at least analysts talking about this is that the franchise model, I believe they would get like roughly like a 1/3 cut. So you essentially have all these people spending all the upfront money, right? They spend all the money, they build the stuff, and they just send them a copy of this, Wizard of Oz deal. They start showing it and they get a third of it. It is such a profitable model if you can start to replicate it. And if you could replicate it with content as opposed to just concerts. And by the way, the concerts are still huge because Backstreet Boys, people are paying $400 and $500 a seat to see Backstreet Boys at the Sphere. Do you realize how difficult it was for Backstreet Boys to sell tickets prior to being in the Sphere? Okay, they took a band that could barely sell tickets, stuck them in the Sphere, and for some odd reason, I have no idea why, but people are saying it's the greatest show ever at the Sphere.
It's an experience. It's different, and you've never seen the projections. Like, put any band there. The Eagles did well there.
Dave, they have cracked the code, and this is all happening. People are so confused. They're like, "But no one's gonna continue to pay that much." I'm like, "Have you ever heard of what people do in Las Vegas? They essentially go there and they pay $300-$400 a seat to see Cirque shows that have been around for 20 years, and they just keep doing it again and again and again, and it's probably the cheapest thing you're gonna do in Vegas as opposed to gambling your money."
By the way, I don't want to hear this about the price because people were paying $3,000 to $6,000 to go see Taylor Swift. So, like, if you really want to go see somebody, like a few $100 is just what it is now. It seems like.
If you want to have a towel and a place to sit at the pool in Vegas, you're going to be spending hundreds of dollars.
Yes, and the bottom line is people have nothing to do. They want things that will kinda hit that dopamine, right? Everyone has, like, a higher floor for what it takes to, like, get the dopamine going, and the Sphere is hitting our culture, I think, at the perfect point in time. So people show up in Vegas, and they're like, "What are we gonna do? We wanna do something cool and new. We don't wanna see another Cirque show," right? Like, we don't wanna just see these random Vegas shows that have been around forever. The Sphere offers something really unique. It's the perfect amount of time, 75 minutes. And Jordan, I'm not talking about the concerts. I'm just talking about like the Wizard of Oz or whatever the next one is that they do, and the next one after that, and the 100 after that, because they're always going to take this really cool nostalgic content that we all love, and they're going to reinvigorate it in a new way for the new generation and for people.
Yeah, really, all you just need a small team of people just thinking and piling through old content and saying like, what is cool? What can we make really interesting?
The actual production cost to make The Wizard of Oz, reports saying that it was $80 to $100 million, and that likely included the rights and production and enhancement and marketing and adaptation, all of that stuff. So $100 million all in to have a production that's ready to hit repeat.
Nothing compared to what they're generating from this. I was so excited that looking back, I kind of regret not going in larger. I went in large, but this should have been my number one trade of the year if I was thinking clearly.
We basically have been saying this for 2 years. When they first announced the Sphere, we're opening it for the very first time. The outside of it being such a visible part of the landscape in Las Vegas, we knew that it was going to be a visual thing that was going to be shared on social media. When they had something big, everybody's going to know about it, and so we just have to watch for those shows that are going to be unbelievable. Like, imagine a Taylor Swift there. That would be the next trigger point. I don't know, announcing that you're going to have, like, Willy Wonka come to the Sphere is going to be something that moves the stock up another 50%.
Yeah, I think Taylor Swift might be too big for the Sphere.
No, Dave, you got it wrong. Taylor Swift is a one and done. It would be awesome because it would set the stage for triple A-list artists, but it almost looks like they don't even need triple A artists on
The whole story has changed. It's now about now that we have proven that we can do something in this location, our high visibility location, let's clone it around the world.
When you want better margins than you would get out of, like, a Taylor Swift show, right? Because she would demand so much of the ticket price.
Jordan, getting to your point that you made earlier, Sphere has come out, I think it was in their last earnings, perhaps, and they said that based on the success of their filmed content, they might start to transition more of the showtimes from concerts to film content. So that tells you all you need to know. As a social arb trader, I have this thesis now that the first part of it is over. Everybody knows the Wizard of Oz is a huge deal. It's going to impact earnings. If you go on to X, there's a couple really good, I'll call them, like, I guess retail analysts. One of them is a social arb trader that follows our channel. He DM'd me today. His name is Paris Analyst on X. But there's another guy that I sent y'all, Kevin L. Mack, M-A-K. So Kevin L. Mack has done a lot of work on Sphere. So I would definitely go on X and I would pull up Kevin L. Mack, M-A-K, and read through all of his analyst notes because he's actually doing a really good job looking under the covers of how this is going to impact earnings. He's tracking how many seats are being pre-sold going into Q4. I don't know that either of these guys have done a lot of work on what this meaningfully means for the next couple years, because I actually think this provides product market fit that goes out years on Sphere. I think it's a massive game changer for the entire company. If they could just get rid of that MSG network that is nothing but a distraction, and there are rumors that that might actually happen, that would be a really big deal as well. So part one of the social arb trade is over. Part two is just beginning. I am not selling my Sphere. I'm going to transition from a highly levered call options position, transition that slowly into more of a long-term equity position in Sphere, because every single time I talk to someone about this, guys, I was around a lot of investors the past week. I was doing robot stuff, and I don't think one person I spoke to knew this was a publicly traded company. I was like, "Wait a second. Do people not realize that Sphere is a publicly traded company? Is this like an unknown thing for a lot of investors?"
You should be hanging around with this many people who don't watch your show. I mean, it's clear.
Did you say, "Don't you even know who I am?"
And then storm out of the meeting?
The people I was hanging around are like $5 to $25 million check writers each, so I don't think they're watching a lot of our show. Some of them do, actually.
You need to get business cards with the show on it. These are the people who should be watching us.